There's a backlog of deferred maintenance between $568 million and $745 million. Investment in new capital assets are critical, but how will you ensure the Ontario colleges are properly maintained and that the burden of the deferred maintenance is not offloaded onto students in the form of higher tuition? And maybe I'll start off on this one with Randall.
Okay, thank you for that question. We've budgeted to spend $35 billion on infrastructure in this province over the next 3 years. You know, certainly colleges and universities are going to get their share of that. There's your MPP, you know, your college is in my riding. I'm going to make sure that I argue that you guys get what you should get here, and we're sure not going to download the cost of that onto anybody. That's government's responsibility, and we're going to pay for it.
Thank you. Bob.
Thank you. When the PCs were last in power, they invested $2.6 billion per year in infrastructure. It was hardly enough to maintain anything, let alone build anything new. In the course of the last 6 years, we've invested an average of $10 billion per year in infrastructure. We have in our budget this year $275 million for colleges in terms of capital investments. We have a $12.8 billion infrastructure budget this year. Significant amounts of that are going into building new capacity. I was the architect of a 10-year capital plan, the first time in the history of the province of Ontario, and we are making it a requirement moving forward that there will be no new capital dollars invested unless whoever is the recipient of those funds, whether it's a municipality, a hospital, or a college, they have a capital plan that makes sense moving forward to cover the deficit in maintenance in all of the buildings. We have also significantly increased the budgets for capital maintenance. We have a lot of catch-up to do after the deficit that was created under the PCs when they were in power. So we're committed to it. We're doing it. We've transferred significant dollars, a lot of year-end dollars, to Algonquin College right here, where we're standing now, to improve the capital plant that you have here. So our record is impeccable in terms of investing in infrastructure, and we're going to continue to do so.
Thank you. Alex.
Well, I think to one extent or another, this is a question of affordability. Of course, we need money for infrastructure. Where's the money going to come from? I think some of my colleagues already have mentioned the ballooning deficit. We need to get that under control. The Green Party is the only party that has resolved to eliminate the deficit by 2015 so that we're spending taxpayer dollars, we're spending your money on social programs, on infrastructure, instead of debt payments and interest payments. We have decided to increase the operating budgets for colleges and universities. In terms of infrastructure, we've provided more than $800 million in tax credits so that buildings can be refurbished, so that you can bring in more infrastructure for college and university campuses, and also an additional $800 million for private spaces that wish to do that.
Thank you. Wendy.
Thank you. Well, I think Alex raised a valid point about budget and where's the money going to come from. And to me, it's a matter of priorities, and this is certainly something that I've had experience with as regional councillor with Bob on regional council. There were times when cuts were brought forward for health and other frontline services, and when the community put forward their view, which was not to make those cuts, somehow the money was found. It's a matter, as I said, of shifting the priorities. There is money in there is, if you take away, for example, the corporate tax credits, that if you lower them, if you reduce them to the 2010 level, you're putting $1.8 billion back into the budget. If you and we are actually, the NDP are proposing an infrastructure to implement an infrastructure program where $35 billion is put in over 3 years. That would go to core infrastructure such as colleges, universities, transit, and I spoke a little bit about that as well. So that is something that we feel is a priority and that funds should be freed up for. more so than, frankly, corporate tax giveaways with no strings attached. And I'm talking about things like, for example, we pay HST if we rent boxes or whatever at senators' games or luxury suites. Large corporations don't. They get that 8% tax break. Well, those funds could be used better elsewhere.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go to question number 3. Recently, results suggest that the economy of Canada is softening. What program policies would your government put in place to help Ontario weather the potential recession and ensure that there will be good jobs for young workers that will be entering the workforce during the economic downturn? And I'll put this one over to Alex.
So one of the things that I think is important to note is that this issue is directly related back again to tuition fees. If you're saddled with between $20,000 and $35,000 in debt before you even move out of your parents' house or get your first full-time job, how are you expected to innovate? Most entrepreneurs are young people. I don't know anybody who can manage a successful business if they're saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. So one thing we're going to do, as I've said, is get a handle on tuition fees. Another thing that we're going to do is invest in research and development. Governments at both the provincial and federal level have been slacking off when it comes to investments in R&D. And we need to be investing in job growth areas like sustainable transportation, like green building, like biomedical research. We are also going to dedicate more than $300 million, $600 million actually, to co-op mentorship and apprenticeship programs while people are in school so that they are gaining job experience and they leave with that job experience. We're also going to provide funding for businesses that decide to invest in certification programs in job growth areas. Our hope is that all of these things in combination will help develop youth employment opportunities.
Thank you.